Hello everybody, how are you? Nice to see you all here on this lovely, not quite as sunny day as it was yesterday when I arrived to London, but nonetheless it's good London weather. So I'm here to talk about the rise of third-party app stores. Interestingly enough, these days it's not just, when it comes to mobile phones, it's not just Apple and Google that have the lion's share of end users' attention. There's a lot more out there, so I'm going to get into a little bit of that on this presentation today. We've got about 15 minutes. I'll whiz through it as I do, and hopefully there's some time at the end for some questions if you have any. So we'll just go on to the next one. Next slide. Who am I? I'm Anderson, and I've been working in mobile content for over 14 years now. Originally, I started off making video clips that you could subscribe to via a WAP website, and you could receive nice shots of beautiful people doing different things on a weekly basis until you unsubscribed. It was a great business model, worked very well. Things all changed after a little bit of time though when smartphones came in, and I started working back in 2008 at Ericsson, and I've been working with mobile game content very specifically since 2008. And I just joined Huawei last year in August, just before Gamescom, and have been working with Huawei now to try and onboard people to Huawei App Gallery. I've worked all over the world and have got big connections in game and content industries. And if I haven't met you before, I'd love to meet you and hear about what kind of content you're making and how we could potentially work together in the future. Next. So why mobile? Well, as you just saw from the App Annie speech just a second ago, the growth in the games industry is all coming from mobile. Since I started back in 2008, mobile games were an afterthought, you could say. It wasn't the kind of place that you would go to get game content if you were a mid-core or a hardcore player. Over the past 10 years or more, that's changed, and the industry's developed to the point now where, as you can see, in 2018, mobile was worth $70 billion, which is more than both PC and console combined. This is the kind of hockey stick growth that you don't really see unless you're a venture capitalist and you're looking for something to invest in. But this is why mobile is the place to be. If you are a game developer and you have a great idea, just test it out on mobile. You can find yourself, so you can see if the mechanic works very well, and you have a very good chance to monetize too, because mobile is the platform for monetization, judging by the revenues that are coming in. So I'd like to talk to anybody who has mobile games, obviously, so please come and see me after the next slide. So it's a little bit big, isn't it? But anyway, you can see the top there says third-party app stores, just trying to show a few of the bigger ones that are out there today. App2Wide has been doing very well. They're the earliest third-party app stores out there. They have a very big selection of content these days, and certainly worth considering if you're looking for third-party app stores to address your content to. Amazon apps, wow, what success. The Amazon Prime was a great business model for them, and they've had really good growth, and they continue to do so, backed obviously by the huge funds that they have at Amazon. They're able to really push the boundaries of the features and the offers that they can have to their end users. You may have heard at the end of last year, Epic, the publisher of Fortnite, have decided to have their own store. This is very much in competition with Steam and Valve, but also the killer announcement for Epic, they're going to have a mobile store as well. So this is certainly one to watch, but if you think of, this is one of the biggest game companies in the world, if their thoughts are along the lines of, let's have our own app store, there's got to be something in it, right? Third-party distribution has got to be a way forward. And why, if you're Epic, why would you be giving 30% of your revenues to Google Play or Google when you don't really need to? You can set up the infrastructure and you can control the revenue share to your partners, control how much the pricing is for your end users. It gives you a lot of flexibility. And then obviously Samsung Galaxy Apps has been around for quite some time too. They've done a good job onboarding a lot of app developers too. One of the issues that Samsung faces, and Huawei as well, is that on the devices where there's a competing store, the best Android store available, which is Google Play. But we have ways and methods to try and make the value available from our stores more attractive to users to increase engagement and that kind of stuff. So on to the next slide, please. So this is about Huawei and where we are at the moment as a company. We're growing fantastically. We're one of the largest in the world. We're doing not only consumer products, but we're doing enterprise products for large telecommunications providers in every market. And we're seeing the growth continue on a pleasing level. If we can just go to the next slide. Advanced one, thanks. So this is the increasing global business growth of Huawei. I'm sorry it's not scaling so well, but you probably get the idea. This is for 2017, this is the smartphone shipments graph. 2017, we did 153 million devices globally. Last year, we just hit 200 million devices shipped in 2018. So we overtook Apple as being the second largest device manufacturer by volume in 2018, which was a very proud moment for all of Huawei. But that growth continues, and it's continuing in markets, especially in Europe, one of the areas we see the most growth. And we like that a lot because Europe's a very developed and mature market with a lot of very good spending profiled end users. So we're concentrating a lot of our efforts onto the European market, not just into marketing of our devices to end users, but also with partners, game developers, especially from my perspective, app developers too, service providers that we can actually expose to a European audience directly from the Huawei device. If we slide, this is the graph showing exactly where we're at in terms of usership. We're in over 170 countries worldwide. For the mobile services we provide at Huawei, we're currently hitting about 68 million users outside of China, which is very encouraging, and that's growing a lot. We have payment integrated in many countries. In Europe this year, we're rolling out direct carrier billing. We should be in all 49 European market carrier billing by the end of the year, which is another nice way of reducing the friction for end users to actually monetize in your games. At the moment, we're in 19 markets for DCB here in Europe. In terms of the way up, we have A-Spiegel is a subsidiary company of Huawei. They're based in Dublin, and they own the mobile services that we provide to people in Europe. So in terms of business structure, it's a legal entity based in Dublin, a European elite. So we pay taxes in Europe, and we're a good corporate neighbor, let's put it that way. So yeah, you see also we have offices in Dubai, Mexico City, Shenzhen is the headquarters of Huawei, Singapore is the APAC head, and then it's not shown on this map here, but Helsinki is another big hub for us here in Europe when it comes to the cloud services that we provide. Next, please. So here's a bit of an overview of the different services that we have. If you look over there, we started off with quite sort of standard things like music. Themes is something that's very popular amongst our end users, the ability to personalize your phone and change the look and feel of it. Then we're moving the course of this year, adding more services as well. And then in the middle of that is the core SDK that we provide to our partners, which is to cover things like billing. So payment integration is a key one for you all to get paid. So Huawei ID. So much like a Google ID, you have your Huawei ID so that you're a unique identifier for you as an end user. Next. So this is the rollout of services. We started in 2017 with themes. Magazine is like a lock screen. It's dynamic. You can ship different content to the lock screen. So you could basically use that like a billboard, and it has been quite an effective way to get messages across for certain companies. So when you the screen to turn the phone on, you see essentially a bit of maybe Tourism Island is one of the companies that we've done very well with, just showing off some content from a particular partner. Then in 2018 we launched Gallery outside of China. That was a good success. It started in about May, June last year, and we're slowly building the offering to our end users and our partners as well. Also launched last year was video. So Huawei has a service, video on demand, directly on our devices too. That's currently only available in 2 markets here in Europe, but that will spread across the whole of the European continent. And then also music and pay are launching, have launched, but more robustly, let's say, within the course of this year. And new items that are coming too. The browser will be an interesting one. Assistant, similar to the Google Assistant. Reader is obviously something to read books with too. Interestingly enough, just about the browser, you may have heard the court case from the EU last year against Google for the antitrust, where they were eventually fined, was it 4.3 billion euros, the ruling from the European High Court saying that Google had acted in an anti-competitive way by making device manufacturers pre-install Google Search and Google Chrome as part of the overall package. So the ruling was that Google could no longer continue with this practice. And since then, Google have come out and said, actually, for any OEM making Android devices in Europe, or the EEA actually, they could now pay a $49 license fee per device in order to have search bar, Chrome, and Google also threw in Google Play as part of this licensing deal. So nowadays, Huawei's in a bit of a situation where we're our options. Maybe there might be a point in the future when there's devices made by Huawei with no Google services at all and only Huawei-based services. So that's another reason for developer partners out there to think about addressing third-party app stores. Because Android is open source, people can make devices using Android as the core, and you won't necessarily have an opportunity to sell your content to them via Google Play. So you need to think about other opportunities for yourselves. So this is just a bit of a deeper look into Themes. Themes has been one of our most successful content services that we provide to date. From the last slide, you saw it started in 2017, so it's had a bit more time to kind of get momentum. We're now at the point where we've partnered up with a lot of the most famous museums around Europe, and we've got some amazing theme content from some very classical artists like Leonardo da Vinci, Van Gogh, as you can see. A bunch of other, plus also more contemporary stuff too is coming out with Themes. We find that Themes is one of those content items that monetizes really well. People are not that bothered about paying $1 or €1, let's say, for a really nice theme and personalized, and not just the wall screen or the wallpaper screen or the lock screen, but also down to the very icons that you have on your device too. So this is something that's worth considering, and it's something that we talk about with our partners too, who have maybe a broader range of IP where they could have some value provided, not just by having their game on our services, but also having sundry content, supporting content, if you like. So if you had a very strong IP, let's say Mickey Mouse, for a better example, you could have a Mickey Mouse game presented through our store, but then also you could monetize your IP rights by having themes, premium themes that people could install and be able to engage with on a daily basis with your content. So themes, if you have a really good skilled studio with great artists, that's certainly something that you should consider and talk to me about too. Next. So a little bit more in depth on App Gallery itself. So the global cumulative downloads to date is 200 billion. That's including China. 210 million global monthly active users. 450 plus thousand developers. I don't think that's correct. But we do have thousands of developer partners and in 138 countries. So that's a bit of a look at the landing page of App Gallery, and because of the fact that we have such a big audience, address them with special offers, and that's something that we talk to our partners about on a regular basis. What can you give us that's a bit different that could actually make it worth our while to promote you in the top spots and drive installs for your content? Next slide. So these are some of the major parts of App Gallery, some of the promotional points that you can leverage and get your message across. We have a splash screen, so when you actually open the app for the first time that day, you'll get a full screen takeover with a great offer of whatever it is your content item might be. End user can click on that and get taken directly to the install page, and where they would just obviously do the normal installations. The top banner is the most popular one, and that drives a hell of a lot of installs. Then we have smaller, medium banners as well, and then obviously we have a search functionality too. We have a big team in China that's building this product, over 400 people of developers and engineers that are actually crunching and making improvements all the time. So this is all these different features are getting better and better. So for example, search has apparently increased 10 times more accurate results now in the 6 months that I've been working with Huawei. So I'm very positive about the future and the different developments that we'll have, giving more options for developer partners to address and grab an audience from Huawei. Next one, please. Advance. Oh, there we go. So Huawei, besides the App Gallery store, the channel that we have to, we also have other ways to get a user from a Huawei device. So we have the out-of-box experience. So basically a brand new user, and this is a great way to address the Huawei audience because we saw with the device volumes, we're getting a lot of people who have been previously Samsung or Sony users moving over to Huawei because of the value proposition of the devices themselves. The build quality is very high too, so that's why we're seeing a big growth. So being in the very first thing that a consumer sees as soon as they start their phone up is a very valuable place to be, and that's something that we could talk about too if you're interested to be presented to our users at that very early stage out of the box. We also have something called the Top App folder. So on all of our devices, both Huawei and Honor, there's it's like an app advisor, and an end user could open that app and they could see promotions apps that we have partnerships with. We're doing stuff with Booking.com and a number of other big providers too, where you could actually put your content in their face and convert into a paid user. So there are two other options besides the traditional store method that you can actually address the Huawei. Next. So Booking.com I mentioned before, so a little bit of a case study. Booking.com, because they're a travel industry application, they have a lot of great content. There's to take travel photos. They have some really talented photographers out there that are licensing their content to Booking. Booking owns all this stuff and they provide it to us. We made a bunch of different themes for Booking. We had them in the out-of-box experience advisor. We promoted them in App Gallery, and we even had gift cards and bundles where people could actually get more value and more exposure for Booking too. So it was a very successful partnership that we did with Booking. So it's these sort of things that we're open to, discuss with content providers too. Next. Next, please. Oh, sorry. Keep going. It's one of those slow builders. Yeah. There we go. So another example of the full ecosystem of how we can help you and your content get exposed to our users. Screen Magazine I mentioned before. This is the lock screen, which is dynamic and it's changing on every time you unlock the phone. You get a new image there. That's a great way to show your product or your service or your content. This is the next sort of iteration along from that. So you could use your great artwork that you have, turn that into a monetizable theme, deep link that from the theme store across to the app store or app gallery where they could install your content. And then of course, if you have any video content that could be gameplay sessions, maybe even like trailers, that kind of stuff too, we're interested to promote that stuff within our video service. Music, it doesn't really relate quite so much, but if you have music, we'd be happy to talk to you about promoting your music in our music service. Then obviously App Gallery is the content place, and then activation is the last part of that whole life cycle. So if you come on board and become our partner, there's opportunity to be at Huawei events. We're releasing so many phones per year. We generally have 2 major announcements of like flagship devices, those sorts of things. We're always looking for content partners to be either on stage with us or at demonstration booths that we have at all these events where there's content on live phones showing off to end users the power of the phone and how good your content looks on our graphical chipset and Kirin chips too. I think we can go to the next one. So yeah, this is some of the partners that we're working with today. We'd like many more, obviously, and if your name's not on that list, come and talk to myself or my colleague Toby at the front here during the next couple of days, and we'd be happy to talk to ways that you could address Huawei. Next. So some of the open capabilities that we have available. So we have a lot of SDKs out there that you can easily access to by joining up to the Developer Alliance. So we have the App Gallery SDK, we have hardware stuff, we've got the AR engine, virtual reality as well. Another interesting one is the Huawei Artificial Intelligence, High AI. So yeah, there's different tools available for developers to play around with and potentially find some interesting use case. And if that's something that you do, we'd be interested to hear that as well, because we're always looking for new ways to talk about the features that we provide in our devices. Next. So join us. It's very easy to become a Huawei Developer Alliance member. You just need to register, log in. There's a small verification step. If you're already publishing on the App Store for Apple, you'll have something called a DUNS number, D-U-N-S number. So you would need that to verify as part of the Huawei process as well. And then once that's all submitted, we review that, and generally you're within 24 hours, 48 hours, depending on what day of the week it is. If it's a Friday, it might take till Monday. Next, this is what it looks like. So developer.huawei.com. You just find that website, register or log in clearly, and then a very easy process from there. Next, that's what it looks like to actually sign up if you're from Ukraine. If you're not from Ukraine, we're not interested. I'm kidding, of course we're interested. And next slide, please. Yep. So then once you've signed up, you can add new products. You need to fill out all the information in the back end, like which markets you want to publish it into, that kind of stuff. Set the prices, and then the app gets reviewed. We do QA on all the applications that we have on our store to make sure that they're not malware, that they're working very well on our devices too. And then you publish. The app's out there and it's available for end users to purchase or install for free. And with discussion with our operations team, we can arrange for higher promotional spots within our store too. And I think that's the last slide. HuaweiMobileServices.com is the overarching website where you can get a lot of information about the devices we provide. Plus, you can also, if you don't have a Huawei device, on this website, you can actually install App Gallery. So you could download the App Gallery APK and test it out for yourself, have a little look, see what you think of it. We're interested in any feedback that you have, clearly. But that's available as a download from here. If you go from your own device, though, make sure you check unknown sources so that you can actually install it. Last slide, I think. Next one. Yeah, big bit of news. If you're a game developer and you develop in Unity, during the course of this year, before Q2, we expect the Huawei SDK as a Unity plugin to be available as UDP. So it's literally, as a Unity developer, it's one click, and then you can address the Huawei App Store by having the billing and the ID integrated into your Unity project. So that's going to make life very easy for you, a developer, moving forward. There'll be some bigger announcements in partnership with Unity as the year progresses, but this is stuff that I can tell you as of right now. And the next one, thank you. And that's me.
Thanks, very detailed. Very useful for Ukrainian developers.
Thanks,
so we have time for just one quick question. Have any got a quick question for Huawei? Where do you rank in terms of the biggest handset manufacturers in the world?
We're number 2.
The second manufacturer in the world.
Yeah. If you don't have a question right now, or you're a little bit shy amongst all these people,
good position.
We actually have a table. I'll take your question for sure, but we have a table just in that room there on the far wall. So please come and visit us.
Is Travel Mike? Have you got a big booming voice? You reckon you can go for it?
Yeah, I was wondering about the revenue split
We understand it's 70-30 split, but depending on your game, and we can talk if there's if you have a very good monetizing game and of great value, we'd be interested to negotiate terms.
You can negotiate terms with the second biggest handset manufacturer in the world, so that's good.
Thanks very much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.